By this time next year, all public housing projects in the city of Atlanta will be gone. The Atlanta Housing Authority says it's ahead of schedule in reaching its goal to be the first major city to build mixed-use communities where housing projects once stood. But not everybody thinks this is a good idea.
John, there are no shortage of opinions when it comes to this topic. Some call the projects a government social experiment gone wrong. Others simply call the housing communities home. In a perfect world, you would call them public housing communities, but you probably know them better as the projects.
In 1934, at Techwood, Atlanta, Georgia, began the...
Atlanta was the first major U.S. city to build them, Techwood Homes in 1936. And now it's racing to be the first to tear them all down. But there are those who believe the AHA has torn communities apart.
That's all they did was taking black people and pushing them on further out to Atlanta, Georgia.
Former Bowen Homes Resident Association President Shirley Hightower called it a land grab and gentrification. And then there's the cost benefit for the city of Atlanta. It's estimated that each revitalized project is worth $123 million. The crime goes down and the resources go up. And then when you combine all of the projects together,
the net benefit to the city of Atlanta was about $1.5 billion.
After the projects were systematically demolished across the city of Atlanta, did anybody ever stop and ask themselves, where did all of the people go?
These are perfect good apartments. It wouldn't have took nothing to renovate these apartments and keep it going on. But they did whatever they had to do to make sure that they got this land and this property.
So where did some of these residents go?
A blighted, drug-infested apartment complex scheduled to be demolished in southwest Atlanta.
If you've lived or worked on the south side of Atlanta, you've likely come across the infamous Sierra Ridge Apartments on Delmar Lane.
Well, good evening to you both. As a native Atlantan and a reporter who's been in this market for more than 20 years, I have covered my share of shootings and murders and other problems right here at what used to be Sierra Ridge.
Last hope, born home, you feel born home, last hope. Ninth wall God. Mention my name, you feel me? Brain hole sit out. You see all these folks from different projects. You got Born Home, Perry Home, Etheridge, Hollywood Court, everybody from somewhere else. Dope man on the dope man. I'm originally from Born Home. But when they closed my hood, I went straight to the 9. I took over. Got some people out there that said the Ninth Ward is really like Born Homes all over again. Yeah.
Atlanta would tear down its old housing projects, Bowen Homes, Carver Homes, East Lake Meadows, Perry Homes, Hollywood Courts. The list goes on. But tearing down the buildings doesn't erase poverty or crime or the people who lived in those communities. So when the city bulldozed the projects, something else happened. Private landlords bought up cheap apartment complexes, usually in Southwest Atlanta, East Atlanta, or deep in Decatur. And those complexes became the new projects. The same people, the same conditions, the same politics, but just different buildings. And that Sierra Ridge on Delmar Lane, that will become the most notorious example, an unofficial project born after the official ones was gone. But that wasn't an accident. It was a shift, a transferring in poverty from government-owned property to private-owned property, where the problems pretty much stayed the same, but the profit moved into different hands. And Sierra Ridge Apartments, better known as the 9, will become the evolution of Atlanta's housing projects, a place that proved the city didn't end its past, it just relocated it.
a good complex till the drugs came in.
Lord forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack making backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the vital speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby May. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
We on Edison right here, man. Campus Zone 4, man. Swaps.
You swaps.
Yeah.
And did you grow up in the swaps? You grew up on the south side?
I was originally born Bankhead Court, West Side. Got the shit bigger here on my arm. Like, that shit will always be a part of me. But, you know, they took all the projects down in Atlanta when I was so young. You know what I mean? We moved kind of everywhere. Zone 3. On the east side a little bit, you know, but I made my mark and my name in the 9. I'm a 9 Ward nigga, like 9 Ward, like that Delmar Lane, that's on the west side, out MLK. It's like, you know, it was like kind of one of the last projects. It really ain't no project, like official project, but you can, like, you was out there 5 minutes, you're like, what the hell type of project? Like, worst hood I done ever stayed in, like, shit so crazy.
Police are trying to find the shooter or shooters involved in the murder of a man in northwest Atlanta. Good evening, I'm Russ Spencer.
And I'm Sine Simpson. The man was found shot to death in a car in the parking lot of the Sierra Ridge apartment complex. Now, Fox 5's George Franco joins us from APD headquarters with the story. Do investigators have a motive at this point, George?
Well, Russ and Sine, Atlanta police homicide investigators tell me they do not have a solid motive for the murder of a man who was found shot to death in the back seat of a car in northwest Atlanta. Now they're hoping reluctant witnesses will step forward. APD homicide investigators scoured for evidence around a white sedan where they say a black man in his 20s was found dead, shot multiple times apparently while inside the vehicle.
We found him in the back seat. I'm not sure if that's how, we're not sure if that's where he was at when he arrived or if he got out and got in the back seat.
Lieutenant Charles Hampton says it's unclear what brought the victim, the passenger in the car, and another man, the driver, to the Sierra Ridge apartment complex in the first place. The driver was taken to APD headquarters for questioning about who may have done the shooting.
May have been actually 2 individuals who opened fire on the vehicle, but again, hopefully we'll get more information from the driver.
I'm just getting off work myself, and the other time the other incident happened, I was just getting off work then.
For Cassandra, fearful of revealing her full name, the latest shooting comes too soon after the one 2 days ago near here, which also left a man dead.
Oh, shit. Now, 9 Ward shit. Nigga in their ass stripped, bullets every day. Like, my mom, I was like 15 when I moved to the 9. My mom probably stayed out there 2 weeks before I even came to see where she stayed at. I was so in the street, so by the time I get over here, like, it's so poverty out, like, it's so, like, that shit was so crazy. I'm like, oh, hell no, like, I ain't gonna lie, lately it's a whole lot of houses and shit. Like, I hadn't been in no real apartment like Bankhead Court in so long. This shit kind of foreign to me. I was like, goddamn, what the hell these niggas got going on? Gunshot daily, no cap. That boy, all I say, gunshot daily, like, gunshots daily, 7 days a week. You gonna hear that shit, like, that got to be one, like, 9 Ward Delmar Lane, man. Worst neighborhood I stayed in Atlanta. Worst. The worst. Yeah. Like, bodies, I don't see bodies come out my door, niggas slump. Like, you hear a few shots, oh shit, yeah, won't get out. Walk out the door, nigga.
You've been in shootouts.
We're following a developing story out of northwest Atlanta where police are investigating a deadly double shooting. Now, neighbors who heard the gunshots say it sounded like a gun war.
And the shooting ended with one man dead on Delmar Lane and another man rushed into surgery. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes spoke to witnesses about the deadly shooting.
Atlanta homicide detectives called to the scene of a double shooting here in northwest Atlanta that left one man dead. This white SUV riddled with bullets, evidence of the violence that unfolded in this northwest Atlanta neighborhood.
How many shots did you hear?
I heard about 5 before I ran. Local children were boarding their school bus Monday morning when shots rang out behind these apartment buildings on Delmar Lane, and a wounded man collapsed in the street nearby. I just saw the school kids running, scrambling. Atlanta police responded to a report of a person shot at around 8:30 a.m. When they arrived on scene, they found the body of a man in his early 20s lying in the street. A second man in his late 20s who was also shot was transported to Grady Hospital in stable condition and rushed into surgery. Police determined there was a shootout, but detectives aren't sure if it was between the injured man and the deceased.
Hopefully, once we clear the scene, the lead detective will canvass the area also to try to get more information.
The SUV was parked behind the apartment buildings. Police believe the surviving victim may have been in the vehicle when the shooting happened. Janika Gardner rushed home when she heard about it.
I immediately came to see if my daughter was safe. Did she make it to school? Because she has to go this way every day.
No weapon was found on scene. Investigators hope the man who survived will be able to provide more information. As detectives gather evidence and interview witnesses on scene, they're asking that anyone with information call Crime Stoppers.
If you ever got robbed attempting to buy weed or happened to get shot at going to visit a girl in a 9, you might wonder why Sierra Ridge collapsed into one of the most violent apartment complexes in Atlanta. And the truth of the matter is, the violence didn't appear out of thin air. It grew out of displacement, pressure, and decisions made long before the first 911 call at Sierra Ridge. When the projects fell, thousands of families were pushed into publicly owned complexes just like this one, with no structure, no security, no investment, and no oversight. So Sierra Ridge didn't just fall apart on its own. It became the place where the city's old problems were forced to relocate. But that doesn't explain everything that happened there, because the downfall of Sierra Ridge wasn't just about poverty or neglect. It was about who took root inside the buildings after the projects went down. And one crew played just as much as a role in the identity of the 9 as the conditions themselves. A gang many people describe as Atlanta's most hated. A crew with deep ties to the deceased housing projects in Atlanta, PFK, or Play for Keeps.
The operational objective is finding the guns, the gangs, and the narcotics.
Atlanta Police Captain Ralph Woolfolk, who told us the first bus turned up a convicted felon in possession of a gun, which is a crime.
Did you have a gun you weren't supposed to have?
No, sir. That was her gun.
Soon after, near a convenience store.
Our undercover officers got their eyes on the right thing, what we're asking them to. Persons doing offenses with guns, and we got a gun, and we got drugs.
Did you have a gun and drugs? Well said.
He is a confirmed PFK, which is a Play for Keeps gang member.
Are you in a gang? No, sir.
But PFK wasn't just a name known in the trenches or in Atlanta's police paperwork. It became a name recognized far beyond the city and carried worldwide through its most notable member, Little Marlo.
They go, you feel? Mm-hmm. I can tell you how to get money, and I can tell you how not to get caught. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can tell you these stuff. I've been in the hardest of the hardest. I'm from born home. Yeah. You know what I mean? From the 9. Yeah. So, hey man, I can tell you like, hey man, I know how to survive in the jungles, you feel? Mm-hmm.
Marlo's story began long before the rap videos and long before quality control. He would come up out of Boeing Homes, one of the roughest and most infamous housing projects Atlanta ever had, and carried that same reality with him after the projects was torn down. When the families were scattered into privately owned apartment complexes, Marlo's circle would shift too, landing in spaces like the 9, where the same politics, the same dangers, and the same mentality followed everyone who grown up on the old West Side. Music wouldn't come first for him. Survival would. But The voice he developed, the cold delivery, and the detail in his lyrics would come directly from that world. And when he started dropping records under QC, the city would hear it immediately. And he wasn't imitating anything. He was reporting it. But PFK was more than just the predominant crew associated with the Nine. It was a crew that had deep ties to the deceased housing projects in Atlanta, a generation raised in public housing and then scattered into apartment complex once the projects were gone. Many street accounts traced the crew's early identity to the MLK corridor, a west side stretch where young men from the old projects carry their codes, their alliances, and their survival instincts into a new era. And one name that often comes up early in a story is Philippe the Don, also known as Lil One, a lot of times referenced online as an original figure tied to the identity of the crew. Other names tied to the group check PFK, Young DB, and Forever, part of a web of individuals who shaped the crew's presence in Atlanta. Marlo, Lil One, and the rest of the members would grow up around the world absorbing the pressure and the pace of a crew that defined how young men from the West Side moved, hustled, and survived. And as his music spread through Atlanta, his name would take the gang along with it, becoming the face most people associated with Play for Keeps. And then there's No Plug, another figure tied to the Nine, someone also well known around the city. He is also often mentioned as an alleged member connected to the area, but the connection to the two is even deeper than that, because according to Marlo's father, No Plug wasn't just another name in the Nine. He was also part of the reason that Marlo chose to pursue music in the first place.
So he got to connect. So he got to No Plug almost. Him seeing No Plug do it was kind of some kind of motivation.
Yeah. You know, cause No Plug. Him and No Plug. You know what I'm saying? They were like family. You know what I'm saying? No Plug like a nephew, man.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Him and Rudy was in the Nine together.
Now, to understand Sierra Ridge, all you have to do is listen to the people who lived there. Now, 8 years ago, Martell Christian would leave a 1-star Google review and summarize the entire place in 2 words: dope hole. Around that same time, Horsey Foot would post his own warning saying gang infested. Then you have Jaslyn Hensley, who reviewed the complex roughly about 10 years ago and didn't hide how she felt either. She called it exactly what it was to her, just the hood. And then you have Bella Rich, who 9 years ago would write the kind of review that doesn't need explanation or context. Just 5 words: don't move to the Nine. Sometimes the simplest messages are the loudest. One last resident, Todd Cleveland, would post a review that would tell you everything you needed to know about what life was like inside of that complex. Shit be popping off in here, dog. Now, these quite possibly might just be people making accusations about the Nine, but they sound more like the voices of people who heard gunshots, saw fights, and lived through a lot of those headlines. And in 2018, the city of Atlanta would deliver a major blow to Sierra Ridge, or the Nine, when it would be declared unfit for human habitation and ordered shut down. After years of violence, complaints, and crisis calls, the complex that had become the afterlife of Atlanta's demolished housing projects will finally meet the same fate.
Panic for dozens of people at a local apartment complex. And we first told you a few days ago how the city of Atlanta ordered the Sierra Ridge apartments torn down in 90 days. Overnight, the residents got another heartbreaking notice: move out in a month. News Edge reporter Jacqueline Schultz tells us how tenants are in a panic.
I don't have nowhere to go in 30 days with 5 grandchildren.
Bernadine Johnson, who cares for her 5 grandkids, tells me she and plenty of other residents of the Sierra Ridge complex are now panicking. Friday, an order showed up on their doors saying tenants must leave in 30 days.
My nephew is a double amputee. It's just not gonna happen. Not in 30 days.
Penelope Willingham says she and others do not know why they're being forced to leave so quickly. On April 23rd, a judge for the Atlanta Municipal Court ordered the notorious 28 apartment buildings off Delmar Lane Northwest torn down in 90 days after city officials and court records called it unfit for human habitation and a haven for excessive criminal activity. Officials recorded over 400 code violations, and police have been called there an average of 3 times a day.
It's just unimaginable. Can't nobody take them and move in 30 days.
Residents say they're frustrated they haven't gotten answers from management. Court records list the owner as a company named Addison Hasid IV. Since Friday, Fox 5 has not received a response from the company's attorney. The city of Atlanta promised to help residents, and workers Thursday started to survey the number of people who need help to find a place to stay through resources such as the Atlanta Housing Authority or options for emergency shelter.
And help us get that place to stay.
In Northwest Atlanta, Jacqueline Schultz, Fox 5 News.
Why don't y'all take a look at that sign up there? See what it says? Cash for your home. You know what that is? Billboard. What are y'all, Amos and Andy? Are you stepping and he's fetching? I'm talking about the message, what it stands for.
A blighted, drug-infested apartment complex scheduled to be demolished in southwest Atlanta has now been revitalized.
If you've lived or worked on the south side of Atlanta, you've likely come across the infamous Sierra Ridge apartments on Delmar Lane. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor joins us from the new development, now called The Avenues at 3060. Angelique?
Well, good evening to you both. As a native Atlantan and a reporter who's been in this market for more than 20 years, I have covered my share of shootings and murders and other problems right here at what used to be Sierra Ridge. But take a look behind me at what has become a housing transformation.
It was a good complex till the drugs came in.
Gwendolyn Mathis lived in Sierra Ridge apartments in the late 70s and early 80s with 3 small kids when things got downright dangerous. Our Fox 5 archives show Atlanta police responding up to 3 times a day. Murders, drug-related shootings, and dilapidated conditions plague the complex on Delmar Lane.
We had to go to bed at 6 o'clock. Anything after that, after dark, we was on the floor, scared. They were shooting, and you could hear the bullets hitting the walls.
Christopher Copeland was a paramedic who responded to calls there.
It's amazing how this no longer is the trap of prostitution, but this is a place where people could call home and be safe.
Developer Jeff Riddle, District 10 Atlanta City Councilwoman Andrea Boone, and others collaborated to save the complex they say Mayor Reed shut down.
The MPU leaders did not want it demolished. They wanted something revitalized and brand new. And one gentleman knocked on the brick and saw that it could be something here.
The new units offer quartz countertops, washer and dryers, a weight room, and gated entrances. A portion of the avenues at 3060 will be affordable housing, starting at $14.99 for a 2-bedroom. The rest will be at market rate.
I am so excited to see Delmar Lane come up again.
In 2020, a viral YouTube video, Pull Up With a Stick, the music video that took down a neighborhood, would explode across the internet, raking up more than 4.6 million views and introducing Sierra Ridge to people who never heard of the nine. The original music video, documented on that YouTube channel, would feature Saha Baby and Low So Loaded, an artist often mentioned online as an alleged PFK member or affiliate, and a known figure connected to the area. That same year, the exact video will become evidence on a nationally televised crime show. On April 14th, 2020, the First 48 would air an episode titled Georgia Drive, where detectives rewound and freeze-framed clips from that same video while investigating a murder tied to the night it was filmed. To America, Sierra Ridge was introduced through crime tape, viral headlines, and a rap video paused on A&E. But way before the YouTube thumbnails or the homicide detectives appeared in the complex investigating that murder, Sierra Ridge was already breaking down. And not suddenly, but quietly and predictably. Decades of pressure were already crushing that place. Pressure that had nothing to do with a music video. Because the story didn't start online. Its foundation was cracking way earlier. For decades, the city of Atlanta was busy remaking itself. And in that remaking, more than 22,000 Black residents were displaced in between 1980 and 2020. Entire neighborhoods would flip from majority Black to majority white as property values would soar and redevelopment would spread. So when the city demolished Bowen Homes, Carver Homes, Hollywood Courts, Perry Homes, and Eastlake Meadows, just to name a few, the families didn't disappear. They were pushed into Section 8 privately owned apartment complexes that was never really designed to replace the communities that was taken from them. And Sierra Ridge, like many complexes in Atlanta, will become one of those landing zones, a destination created not out of hope, but out of necessity. And families who had already survived one demolition had to now rebuild inside an environment with no investment, no stability, definitely no support, just a roof and a rent check. And what would form in and around the 9 wasn't born from that complex. It was born from the conditions shaping the people that was living there. So young men would build their own systems of survival because the city didn't build anything for them. And out of that reality would come PFK and many other gangs Atlanta would eventually be forced to deal with. A crew that was shaped by the aftermath, not the architecture. And one of those men who would shape the reputation of the gang, Lil Marlo, wasn't an outsider observing this world. He was actually raised in it. Born in the last years of the old projects, carried through the relocations that would follow, and molded by the instability left behind once Atlanta declared those demolitions complete. By the time Sierra Ridge was shut down in 2018, Marlo would still be moving through the world created by that transition, the scattered neighborhoods, the dislocated families, and the instabilities reshaped but never resolved. And if you step back far enough, you would see that the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Sierra Ridge was just the evolution of Atlanta's old housing projects. Not in name, but in function. When the city tore down the projects, complexes like this would become their next form. And PFK would grow from that evolution. The displaced children from that evolution. And little Marlo was a product of that same cycle. He just emerged from it. The complex officially closed in 2018, and in 2020, the crew's most recognized member was killed, gone at just 30. And within 2 years, 2 collapses, one structural and one human. Kind of different outcomes, but both born from the same history Atlanta would never really address. Now, y'all make sure y'all hit the red bell and subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real trail spill shit is dropping. Y'all get in the comment box below. Y'all let me know where we need to go, what stories we need to tell, what we missed, what we got wrong. And definitely make sure y'all tapping with me on Instagram and Twitter, POP_A_LOT. And until our next rundown, y'all know how we play. It's Shades Popalot. Salute the almighty mob.